It's lovely to see you this Yom Kippur afternoon. Minchah on Yom Kippur, Minchah anyway, is always a little bit of an odd experience because we start the service by jumping straight into the and 40.
Vayasev Hamelech et panav, vayivarech et kol kahal Yisrael, v'chol kahal Yisrael omed, vayomer. V'shamata el techinat avadecha, ve'amcha Yisrael asher yitpalalu el hamakom hazeh. Ve'ata tishma el makom shivtecha el hashamayim, v'shamata v'salachta. V'gam el hanochri asher lo me'amcha Yisrael, hu uva me'eretz rechoka lema'an shemecha. Uva v'hitpalel el habayit hazeh. Ata tishma hashamayim mechon shivtecha. Ve'asita kechol asher yikra elecha. Hanochri lema'an yed'un kol amei haaretz et shemecha. Lir'a otcha ta'amcha Yisrael.
I invite you to rise with us as we prepare to take the ark, the scroll from the ark, for our Torah service.
Adonai,
This year we have no Torah processions, so turn immediately to the bottom of that page, to the bottom of page 542. And please take your seats. Ein Kadosh Kadonai ki ein biltecha, vein sor Eloheinu, ki mi Eloah mi baladei Adonai, umitzor zelati Eloheinu, Torah tziva lanu Moshe, morasha kihilat Yaakov. Shalom Rav lo havei toratecha ve'en lama michshol. Adonai oz le'amo yitain. Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. Ki shem Adonai ekra, havu godel le'Eloheinu.
It is my honor to call to Torah this afternoon Gordon and Judy Smith, saying, Ya'amdu, 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 Shlomo Aryeh ben Shmuel HaKohen v'Yehudit bat Baruch v'Lili la'aliyah u'likra l'Torah.
So you will find our Torah portion for this Yom Kippur afternoon, which is Deuteronomy chapter 30, verses 8 to 20. You'll find it on page 976 of the Machzor.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvorah.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam. Asher baham banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen. ואתה תשוב ושמעת בקול אדוני ועשית את כל מצוותיו אשר אנוכי מצווך היום והותירך אדוני אלוהיך בכל מעשה ידך בפרי בטנך ובפרי בהמתך ובפרי אדמתך לטובה כי ישוב אדוני לסוס עליך לטוב כאשר שש על אבותיך כי תשמע בקול אדוני אלוהיך לשמור מצוותיו וחוקותיו הכתובה בספר התורה הזה, כי תשוב אל אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך. כי המצווה הזאת אשר אנוכי מצווך היום לא נפלאת היא ממך, ולא רחוקה היא. לא בשמיים היא לאמור, מי יעלה לנו השמיימה ויקחיה לנו, וישמענו אותה ונעשנה. ולא מעבר לים היא לאמור, מי יעבור לנו אל עבר הים, ויקחה לנו וישמענו אותה ונעשנה. כי קרוב אליך הדבר מאוד בפיך ובלבבך לעשותו. ראה, נתתי לפניך היום את החיים ואת המוות. היום את החיים ואת הטוב, ואת המוות ואת הרע, אשר אנוכי מצווך היום להבא את אדוני אלוהיך, ללכת בדרכיו ולשמור מצוותיו וחוקותיו ומשפטיו. וחיית ורבית וברכך אדוני אלוהיך בארץ אשר אתה בא שמה לרשתה. ואם יפנה לבבך ולא תשמע ונידחת והשתחווית לאלוהים אחרים ועבדתם, הגדתי לכם היום כי עבד תאבדון, לא תאריכון ימים על האדמה אשר אתה עובר את הירדן לבוא שמה לרשתה. העדותי בכם היום את השמיים ואת הארץ, החיים והמוות נתתי לפניך, הברכה והקללה. ובחרת בחיים למען תחיה אתה וזרעך, לאהבה את אדוני אלוהיך, לשמוע בקולו ולדבקה בו, כי הוא חייך ואורך ימיך, לשבת על האדמה אשר נשבע אדוני לאבותיך, לאברהם, ליצחק וליעקב, לתת להם.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת לחיי עולם. נטע בתוכנו, ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה. אמן.
And we're going to sing together from Psalm 133 as our wardens pick up our scroll and we prepare for Haftarah. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב. יללי, יללי, הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב. Ya la la, ya la 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 la. The Haftarah for Yom Kippur afternoon is the book of Jonah. You can find it on page 987 of the Mahsor, so you can follow along as Cheryl Brody reads Haftarah for us. There are many aspects of Eilith life that needed to be transformed overnight in the course of the beginning of pandemic. And one of them was the way in which our refugee drop-in worked. And Cheryl, together with her partners, and particularly Debbie, managed to reimagine how the refugee drop-in would work so they continued to be a source of sustenance and nourishment for those who needed our care and support. So I'm really thrilled that Cheryl is going to read Haftarah for us this Yom Kippur afternoon.
Thank you very much. I'm honoured to read the story of Jonah, which is, amongst other things, about a man trying to escape his responsibilities. Why me, Jonah wants to know. And it's also about not giving up on people, God not giving up on people, even when we've given up on ourselves. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bacha b'nevim tovim, v'ratzav b'divreihem, b'ne'amrim ba'emet. Baruch atah Adonai Habache b'Torah u'Moshe avdo u'Yisrael amo imviei ha'emet v'tzedek. Now the word of the Eternal came to Jonah, son of Amittai, saying, "Arise, go to Nineveh, that great city, and cry out against it, for their evil has come before me." So Jonah rose up to flee to Tarshish from the service of the Eternal. He went down to Jaffa and found a ship bound for Tarshish. He paid the fare and went down into it to go with him to Tarshish, away from the Eternal. Then the Eternal cast a great wind upon the sea, and there was a great tempest, so the ship seemed to be breaking up. The sailors were afraid and called out, each one to his own god. They cast the ship's cargo into the sea to be lightened of it. But Jonah went down into the inner part of the vessel, lay down, and fell into a deep sleep. The captain of the crew drew near to him and said, "How can you sleep? Arise, cry out to your God. Perhaps God will think of us so that we might not perish." And they said one to another, "Come, let us cast lots, so we may know who has brought this evil upon us." So they cast lots, and the lot fell on Jonah. Then they said to him, "Tell us, you who have brought this evil upon us, what is your task? Where have you come from? Where is your land, and what people are you?" And he said to them, "I am a Hebrew, and it is the Eternal, the God of heaven that I fear, who made the sea and the dry land." The men were greatly afraid and said to him, "What is this that you have done?" For the men knew he was fleeing from the service of the Eternal, for he had revealed it to them. They said to him, "What must we do to you that the sea may calm down around us?" For the sea was growing ever more stormy. So he said to them, "Lift me up and cast me into the sea, and then the sea will be calm about you. For I know that I have brought this great storm upon you." Instead, the men rowed hard to return to dry land. But they could not, for the sea had grown ever more stormy against them. So they cried out to the Eternal and said, "We beg you, Eternal, do not let us perish with the life of this man. Yet do not hold us guilty for shedding innocent blood. For you, Eternal, have done it as it pleased you." And they lifted up Jonah and they cast him into the sea. And the sea stopped raging. Then the men were greatly afraid of the Eternal. They offered a sacrifice to the Eternal and made vows. But the Eternal prepared a great fish to swallow Jonah. And Jonah was in the belly of the fish for 3 days and for 3 nights. Then Jonah prayed to the Eternal, his God, from the belly of the fish, and he said, "I cried out in my trouble to the Eternal, and they answered me. From the belly of the Sheol I called. You heard my voice. You cast me deep into the heart of the seas. The floods were around me. All your breakers and waves passed over me." Then I said, "I am driven out of your sight. Yet still I will look to your holy temple." The waters closed in over me. The deep was round about me. Weeds wrapped over my head. I went down to the base of the mountains. The bars, the earth trapped me forever. Yet you brought me up my life from the grave, O Eternal, my God. When my soul was fainting within me, it was the Eternal that I remembered. And my prayer reached out to you, to your holy temple. Those who cling to folly abandon their source of mercy. But I will sacrifice to you with thankful voice. What I have vowed I will fulfill. Deliverance is the Eternal's. And the Eternal spoke to the fish, and it spewed out Jonah onto the dry land. Now the word of the Eternal came to Jonah a second time, saying, Arise, go to Nineveh, that great city, and cry out to it the message that I tell you. So Jonah rose up, and to Nineveh according to the words of the Eternal. Now Nineveh was a very great city, a 3-day walk. Jonah began to enter the city 1 day's walk. Then he cried out and said, In 40 days, Nineveh will be overthrown. The people of Nineveh believed in God. They proclaimed a fast and they put on sackcloth, from the greatest to the least of them. The matter reached the king of Nineveh, and he rose from his throne, removed his robe, covered himself in sackcloth, and sat in ashes. Then he proclaimed throughout Nineveh, By decree of the king and his nobles, let neither person nor beast, herd or flock taste anything. Let them not feed nor drink water, and let them cover themselves with sackcloth, person and beast alike, and cry out aloud to God. And let every person turn from his evil way and from the violence of their hands. Who knows? God may turn and relent and turn back from their fiery anger so that we do not perish. And God saw their actions, how they turned from their evil ways, and God relented of the evil they had said they would do to them, and did not do it. But Jonah was greatly distressed, and it angered him. He prayed to the Eternal, saying, I beg you, Eternal, did I not say just this while I was still on my own land? That is why I tried first to flee to Tarshish, for I know that you are a graceful and merciful God, slow to anger, generous to love, who relents from punishment. So now, O Eternal, I beg you, take my life from me, but it is better that I die than to live. And the Eternal replied, Are you right to be angry? At that, Jonah went out of the city and sat to the east of the city. Then he made himself a shelter and sat beneath it in the shade until he should see what would happen to the city. The Eternal God prepared a gourd, and it rose up over Jonah to be a shade to his head, to help him shed his distress. And Jonah was greatly pleased on account of the gourd. But God prepared a worm as dawn rose the next day, which struck the gourd and it withered. When the sun came up, God provided a driving east wind, and the sun struck Jonah's head until he fainted and longed to die, saying, Better for me to die than live. Then God said to Jonah, Are you right to be angry about the gourd? And he answered, I am right to be angry, even until death. The Eternal said, You feel pity for the gourd, though you neither labored over it nor made it grow. That came up in the night and perished in a night. Shall I not feel pity for Nineveh, that great city, in which there are more than 120,000 people who do not yet know their right from their left, and also much cattle? Al ha-Torah, v'al ha-Vodah, v'al ha-Nevi'im, v'al Yom Kippurim hazeh shenata lanu Adonai Eloheinu limchila lesilicha ulachapara lakavod ulifba aret al hakol Adonai Eloheinu anachnu modim lach umavarachim otach yisbarach simcha b'fei chai tamid li'alam va'ed uduvaracham alkeinu emet v'kayam la'ad baruch ata Adonai melech mochel soleach la'anotenu la'onot amo beis Yisrael Ma'avir ashmoshtenu b'chol shana v'shana melech kol ha'aretz mekadesh Yisrael v'yom Kippurim.
Amen. Shkach.
We turn together to page 548. We're going to rise together as we prepare to put the scroll back into the ark.
Uvnecho yomar, shuva Adonai rivavot al pei Yisrael. Kuma Adonai limnuchatecha, ata va'aron uzecha. Kohanecha yilbeshu tzedek v'chasidecha yiranenu. Ba'avor David avadecha, al tashev pnei Mashichecha. Ki lekach tov natati lachem, Torati al ta'azovu.
And please take your seats. We make the transition from our Torah service into the body of Minchah on the top of page 550. Yehi Adonai Eloheinu imanu, kasher haya im avotenu, al ya'azvenu, va'al yitshenu, lahatot levavenu elav, lalechet b'chol derachav, Lishmo mitzvotav v'chukav u'mishpatav asher tiva et avotenu. Vayihiyu dvarai ele asher hitchananti lifnei Adonai. Krovim el Adonai Eloheinu yomam v'layla. La'asot mishpat avdo u'mishpat amo Yisrael dva yom b'yomo. L'ma'an da'at kol amei ha'aretz. Ki Adonai hu ha'Elohim ein od. Over the page. Al kain kavelecha Adonai Eloheinu, lirot mehera b'tiferet uzecha, l'haveh glulim min haaretz, v'ha'elilim karot shekreitun, l'taken olam b'malchut Shaddai, v'chol b'nei v'asa yikru v'shmecha, l'avnot eilecha kori she'aretz, yakiru v'yedu kol yoshvei tevel, ki lecha tichra kol berech, tishava kol lashon. Lefanecha Adonai Eloheinu, Yichra'u v'yipolu, v'lichvod shimcha yikayitenu, v'kablu chulam et ol malchutecha, v'timloch aleihem mehera leolam va'ed. Ki ha-malchut shelcha hi, v'la'ol me'ad timloch b'chavod, kakatu b'toratecha, Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed. V'ne'emah, v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol ha'aretz, v'yom hahu yihiyeh Adonai echad, v'shemo echad. And the beginning of our Minchah service, the body of Minchah is on the bottom of page 554 as we sing together Ashrei.
Ashrei yoshvei beitecha, Ashrei ham shekhalom,
Milala David, Aru Mincha Elohei HaMelech, V'varacha Shimcha Leolam Va'ed, B'chol Yom Avarachecha, V'alala Shimcha Leolam Va'ed, Gadol Adonai Umehulal Mod, V'ligdulato Ein Cheke, Dulado Yeshabach Ma'asecha, V'gvuratecha Yagidu. Hada kavod hodecha, v'divrei neflotecha asicha, v'ezuz norotecha yomeru, v'dulatcha hasaprena. Zecher ravtucha yabiu, v'zitkatcha yeranenu. Chanum rachum Adonai, erech apayim ugdol chesed. Tov Adonai lekol, rachamav al kol mahasav. Yaduch Adonai kol maasecha, v'chasidecha yavarechucha. Kavod malchutcha yomeru, udvoratcha yedaberu. L'hodia livnei ha'adam gvorato, tuchvod hadam malchuto. Malchutecha, malchut kol olamim, umemshaltecha b'chol devado. Somech Adonai lechol hanoflim, v'zokef l'kol hakfufim. Einei cholelech yisaberu, v'ata noten lahem et ochlam b'hito. Poteach et yadecha, u'mazbi'a lechol chai ratzon. Tzadik Adonai b'chol derachav, v'chasid b'chol ma'asav. Karov Adonai lechol korav, lechol asher yikra'uhu be'emet. Ritzon yireyav yaseh, v'et shavatam yishma v'yoshihem. Shomer Adonai et kol ahavav, v'et kol harashim yashmid. Tehilat Adonai yedaber pi, v'yivarech kol basar shem kodsho le'olam va'ed. We rise together for our Amidah.
Adonai sfatai tiktach, ufi yagid tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, Honei Hakol, Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, Umevi Goel Livnei V'neihem, L'ma'an Shemo v'Yahava. melech ozer u'moshia u'magen. Baruch atah Adonai, magen Avraham, poked Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, mechaye metim atarav lehoshia.
Choral l'chaim barachamim b'nei manata l'chachayot meitim baruch atah Adonai mechayei hametim.
אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. אדוני אלוהינו על כל מעשיך, ואימתך על כל מה שבראת, ויראוך כל המעשים, וישתחוו לפניך כל הברואים, ויעשו כולם אגודה אחת לעשות רצונך בלבב שלם, כמו שידענו אדוני אלוהינו, שהשלטון לפניך עוז בידך וגבורה בימינך, ושמך נורא על כל מה שבראת. ובכן תן כבוד אדוני לעמך, תהילה לרעך, ותקווה לדורשך, ופתחון הפה למייחלים לך. שמחה לארצך, וששון לעירך, וצמיחת קרן לדוד עבדך, ועריכת נר לבן ישי משיחך, במהרה בימינו. וכן צדיקים יראו וישמחו, וישרים יעלוזו, וחסידים ברינה יגילו. ועולתה תקפוץ פיה וכל הרישה כולה כעשן תכלה. כי תעביר ממשלת זדון מן הארץ.
ותמלוך אתה אדוני לבדך על כל מעשיך, בהר ציון משכן כבודך, ובירושלים עיר קודשך, ככתוב בדברי קודשך. קדוש אתה ונורא שמך, ואין אלוה מבלעדיך, ככתוב, ויגבה אדוני צבאות במשפט, והאל הקדוש נקדש בצדקה. We are going to take some time for ourselves to continue with the Amidah on pages 562 and 564, and then we'll come together at the bottom of that page.
רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום. כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. וטוב בעיניך לברך את
ישראל בכל עת ובכל בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם.
בספר חיים נזכר ונכתב לפניך, אנחנו וכל עמך בית ישראל, לחיים טובים ולשלום.
ברוך אתה אדוני, המברך את עמו ישראל, בשלום. We invite you to take your seats. We come once again to the Vidui, the confessions. And as we move into our Vidui, we begin with a piyut from Yehuda Halevi on page 566, Mi Yitmeini. Yotzri v'ro'i, nafshi v'geivi kanita, banta l're'i, u'mashvotai ra'ita, orchi v'riv'i, v'chol drachai tzerita, in ta'azreini, mizeh asher yashileni, o tatzoreni, mizeh asher yatireni. Kravai, liot krovim elecha, ulam atzavai, yirachakum me'alecha, yatu nativai, me'al nativ magalecha, ya lamdeni, v'amitcha hadricheni, ula'at necheni badin, ra'al tashi'eni. ועדנה לעשות רצונך מתרפא. ערכי וזקנה, מזה אייחל ואצפה. אל נא, רפא נא, כי עמך אל המרפא. יום תתשני זקנה, וכוחי ינשני. אל תתשני אלי, ואל תעזבני. Umlal eshev, v'hared l'gai, aram v'shalal elech, v'havlei tatuai, v'ani mechalal merov, zedonai uvsha'ai, bencha uveinei avon asher yavdileni, v'yachshecheni merot, v'orcha eni. Atei levavi la'avod avodat malchutecha, machashavi taheh l'de'a
Ellahutecha. Uveit Kaevi Elna Ta'acha Rafa'utecha. Eli Aneni Al Techesha Utaneni. Maher Aneni. Ve'emor La'avdecha Hineni. Let's rise together. We confess our sins and bring them to the light of our own recognition and of God's forgiveness. By confession, we may become clean. By forgiveness, we may become free. O God, release us from the burden of our failure. Do not let our past imprison us. Renew us. Al chait shechatanu lefanecha b'ma'achal uv'mishteh. Al chait shechatanu lefanecha b'hona'a re'ah. Al chait shechatanu lefanecha b'zilzul horim umorim. Al chait shechatanu lefanecha b'gilui arayot. Al chait shechatanu lefanecha b'ritzat raglayim lahara. Al chait shechatanu lefanecha b'galui.
Al chet shechatanu lefanecha besinat chinam. Ve'al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'tzarut ayin. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'shomet yad. Ve'al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'kashyut oref. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'fluyut. Ve'al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'shogeg.
Al chait shechatanu lefanecha b'chachash u'chazav. Al chait shechatanu lefanecha b'shvuat shav. Al chait shechatanu lefanecha b'chilul Hashem. Al chait shechatanu lefanecha b'frikat ol. Al chait shechatanu lefanecha b'dibor peh. Al chait shechatanu lefanecha b'mezid. Adonai Elohai ve'Elohei Avotai, Hina ani lefanecha kichli male v'usha uchlima. Horeini Adonai Elohim melech rachum v'chanun, lachof et yitzri lehishtabed lach shelo echeta. Uma shechatati lefanecha mechok brachamecha harabim, aval lo al yedei isurim ra'im. Huyaseh shalom Aleinu, Val Kol Yisrael, Val Kol Ha'olam, Ve'imru. Amen. And please take your seats.
We read the Slichot, the hymns of pardon and the pleas of the past. For in the sayings of our ancestors, we can find our own faith. We speak to God through the words of others. May God answer us through them. The expressions have changed, but the need is the same. We sing them and speak them in sincerity. May they be as fresh to us as when they were uttered for the first time. Rabbi Simeon said, "In the hour when God was about to create Adam, the ministering angels were divided into different groups. Some said, 'Let him be created.' Others said, 'Let him not be created.' For mercy and truth have met together. Righteousness and peace have kissed each other. For mercy said, 'Let him be created. He will do loving deeds.' But truth said, 'Let him not be created, for he will be utterly false.' Righteousness said, 'Let him be created, for he will do righteous deeds.' Peace said, 'Let him not be created, for he will be full of discord.'"
Mimavakim karaticha Adonai, Adonai shema v'koli, tihena oznecha kashuvot l'kol techanonai. Im avonot tishmoya Adonai miyamod, kimcha haslicha leman tivareh. Kiviti Adonai kivta nafshi, v'lidvaro hachalti. Nafshi l'Adonai mishomrim laboker, shomrim laboker. Yachel Yisrael al Adonai, Kim Adonai HaChesed, V'harbe imo fudut, V'hu yifte et Yisrael, Mikol avonotav. Towards the bottom of page 575 from Mechilta. Why was the Torah given in the desert at Sinai? It was given in public for all to see, in the open. For if it had been given in the land of Israel, Israel would have said to the nations of the world, "You have no share in it." Therefore, the Torah was given in the wilderness, in public, for all to see, in the open, and everyone who wishes to receive it, let them come and receive it. The top of page 576.
Ata Adon v'ani Eved.
Umi yirachem al Eved, halo Adon. Ata boreh v'ani boleh. Umi yirachem al boleh, halo boreh. Ata dayan v'ani nidan. Umi yirachem al nidan, halo dayan. Ata va'ed v'ani lavud. Umi yirachem al lavud, halo va'ed. Ata chai v'ani met. Umi yirachem al met, halo chai. Ata yotzer v'ani chomer. Umi yirachem al chomer, halo yotzer. Ata lahav v'ani kash. Umi yirachem al kash, halo lahav. Ata shomea v'ani koreh. Umi yirachem al koreh, halo shomea. Ata tchila v'ani sof. Umi yirachem al sof, halo tchila. B'terem shechakim v'arakim nimtachu. Vad lo ma'orot zarachu. Haaretz kabeged tivleh, v'shamayim ka'ashan nimlachu. Vad lo asa eretz v'chutzot. V'hachino yitzurim alei aratzot. Ve'etika beitz nefutzim me'arba nefutzot.
On the top of page 579. Our Father, our King, what is the task of the family of the King? It is to imitate the King. Our Father, our King, you are called merciful and gracious, so we should be merciful and give freely to all. Our Father, our King, you are called righteous, so we should be righteous. Our Father, our King, you are called loving, so we should be loving. Our Father, our King, you set a troop of angels before each of us who proclaim, make way for the image of the Holy One. Blessed be God.
We are going to turn together to page 582. In place of the Vidui Zuta, the Shamnu in this Mahsor, we have this reflection with a Shamnu built within it. Eternal God, we have confessed the sins of every day, the small deceits and evasions that we practice. Help us now to recognize our hand in the great failures and crimes of our world that we commit by our actions or our indifference. We waste what we have, our food, our fuel, our wealth, our gifts. Then we watch in surprise at the destruction of our world. What we do not explode or gouge out of the earth, we pollute. What we do not pollute, we kill. We do not see or wish to see the damage we do, but later we regret. Ashamnu, Bagadnu, Gazalnu, Dibanu Dofi. We hardly even try to understand each other. We prefer self-righteous arrogance to listening. We enjoy our prejudices and fill the universe with our fears, knowing that it solves nothing, serves no purpose, increases hatred and bitterness. Nevertheless, we cannot abolish war. He'evinu, Behirshanu, Zadnu, Chamasnu, Tafalnu Sheker. We cut ourselves off from truth, and reality exists to entertain us. We hide behind distractions and toys. We can be thrilled by the suffering of others, but lost and lonely when we face our own suffering and death. We are shallow. Ya'atznu ra, Kizavnu, Latznu, Maradnu, Ni'atznu. Our power knows no limits, yet we cannot find food for a starving child or a home for a refugee. Our knowledge is beyond measure, and we build the weapons that will destroy us. We are rich in art, in culture, in insight, yet our feelings are crippled like the tantrums of a selfish child. We live on the edge of ourselves, terrified of the darkness within and the emptiness. We are hollow. Saranu, Avinu, Pashanu, Saranu, Kishinu Oref. We do not know who we are, so we are bored by what we have. When we are frustrated, we seek the reasons outside ourselves. We are violent. Our greed for power, for security, for control, we explain, we give reasons, we justify, sometimes in your name. We worship idols. Rashanu, Shichatnu, Tiavnu, Ta'inu, Titanu. Please rise.
El horetanu midot tuvcha v'rachamecha, hakatuv b'toratecha, vayered Adonai be'anan, vayityatzeb imo sham, vayikra b'shem Adonai, v'ya'avor Adonai al panav, vayikra.
Please take your seats. El erech apayim rav chesed ve'emet, al papcha tochichenu, chusa Adonai al Yisrael amecha, v'hoshienu mikol ra, chatanu lecha, Adon salachna, karov rachamecha el erech apayim u'malei rachamim, al taster panecha mimenu, chusa Adonai al she'erit Yisrael amecha, v'hatzilenu mikol ra, chatanu lecha, Adon salachna, karov rachamecha el. So you will notice that we are very, very near to the end of the Minchah service as it appears in our Machzor, and yet we still have 15 minutes left. So what is going on? We realize that for some in this room, this is the only time that you are in the marquee this year. So we are going to turn outside of Minchah just for a moment. We're going to turn together to page 516. And we are adding into our Minchah service an Avinu Malkeinu, for which we're going to rise together.
Avinu Malkeinu, Atanu lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, ein lanu melech zulatecha. Avinu Malkeinu, Kale deve v'cherev v'rav, u'shavi u'mashchit, u'magefa, mibenei beritecha. Avinu Avinu Malkeinu Machalanu Usalach Lachol Avonoteinu Avinu Malkeinu Kotveinu B'Sefer Panasa B'chal Avinu Malkeinu Kotveinu B'Sefer Gula Yeshua Avinu Malkeinu Harem Keren Yisrael Amecha Avinu Malkeinu Chamol Aleinu Va'alol Aleinu V'tapeinu Avinu Malkeinu Tehi Hashahazot Shat Rachamim Beit Ratzon Milpanecha Avinu Malkeinu Avinu Malkeinu Avinu Malkeinu Choneinu V'Haneinu Ki Ein Banu Masim
We are going to stay standing together, recognizing that not only have some in this space not had the opportunity to sing Avinu Malkeinu together with others, but also for some in this room it has been 18 months since they've had the opportunity to say Kaddish with their community also. And we know also in this room are people for whom this year has been a year of loss. So we turn over the page to page 520 and invite you to join with us as we recite the Mourner's Kaddish together. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah,
Amen.
ba'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chaye chon u'v'yomei v'chaye dichol beit Yisrael, b'gala v'zman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah muvarach le'alam l'almei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'a v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitada v'yitalei v'yitalal shemei likudsha b'richu la'ela la'ela min kol bechata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata diamiran ba'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav v'yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol ha'olam v'imru. Amen. Please take your seats. In this very odd Yom Kippur, Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, this is the end of our services in the marquee. We are going to reconvene at 6 o'clock, all online, for our Yizkor and Nila services. We've decided that the most that we can fit in here is about 600 people, and we are a community of 6 times that number. And rather than being divided for Yizkor and Nila, we would remain and be one community altogether. We hope that this time next year, this tent will be filled with people, that at this point in our service next year, those of us who've been here for Minchah will be turning around in irritation at those who are coming in late, having just turned up for Yizkor. We look forward to that moment of irritation, but we are going to be together as one community all together for Yizkor online. So you've got time to get home, time to have a walk if you need, or to stretch, and then to please join us online at 6 o'clock for Yizkor. There'll be another sermon and then Nila all together as well. How to conclude our Minchah service. We're going to turn together just a few pages forward again from where we were to page 5, back again from 514 at the bottom of the page. Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu, salach lanu, mechal lanu, kaper lanu. Our God and God of our ancestors, forgive us, pardon us, and grant us atonement. will see you in about 45 minutes online. Shana Tova, Gemar Chatima Tova.